industry, we are faced with challenges which we hope to put our heads together this morning to see if we can overcome. Number one is the low agricultural budget. We know under the African Union's heads of state, Maputo Declaration, Kampala Declaration, all the heads of states in Africa made a resolution that 10% of their national budgets, or each nation's budgets, should be to agriculture. We are only at about 2.7%, way below the 10% that was agreed by heads of states all over Africa. So that is something that we need to really look at and progressively increase it, even if it is just trying to get to 5% as we move ahead. We are challenged with low production and productivity because of, again, extension, especially lack of extension services, which the Honorable Senator Kajwang spoke about here, and that's something we'll be discussing a little later. We depend on rain-fed and low-tech farming. The future of agriculture is here with us, and now we are focusing on agri-tech, use of technology to ensure that we can increase productivity. And agriculture does not depend on rain, it depends on water. So we really welcome in our ministry our government's National Infrastructure Fund proposal, which of course will ask this Senate to support, because this will see us build infrastructure like dams that will help us irrigate and stop depending on rain-fed agriculture. There's low value addition and weak markets. Under our economic transformation program, we have moved from silos now into value chains with a very, very big focus on value addition so that we can put more money in the pockets of our farmers. Food and feed safety issues has also been a challenge with us. I know there is legislation to cure this, that mediation should have started between the Senate and the National Assembly, and that is something we'll be asking in our legislative interventions to try and see if we can fast track that will really guide our country on ensuring that our food and animal feed is safe, both for our consumption and also through a One Health approach. Climate shocks have been a big challenge, as we are all alive to the fact that we are currently undergoing a drought in some areas of our country, especially the north. And this again has been a big challenge in our sector, both for crops and for livestock. Limited agricultural financing is also an issue. Giving credit, affordable credit, to our farmers so that they can scale has been a challenge. I know our minister has been pushing for, again, another policy and legislative intervention with our Agricultural Finance Corporation to lift the ceiling from 2 billion to 10 billion so that we can avail more credit to our farmers. Low research and data investment, we are also going to be addressing that through an intervention that will be coming to you senators via a legislation on data and information. We have an aging farming population, so we need to really make agriculture cool for our young people so that they can also see that agriculture is not just something for retirees, but it is a livelihood that puts money in the pockets of our youth. And of course, land fragmentation has been a challenge, which is adequately being addressed now through the government's affordable housing program, so that we can move people closer into the towns where there's good services such as water, electricity, good roads, and other services, schools, and leave the farmlands for the farmers to be able to produce food. So interventions to some of these challenges, I'll go through them real quick. Increasing of our agricultural budget, scaling up irrigation and mechanization, using modern technology and quality inputs, promoting agro-processing and farmer cooperatives for aggregation and market access and linkages, strengthen food safety standards and disease control, promoting climate-smart agriculture, increasing access to affordable agricultural financing, investing heavily in agricultural research, and developing land policies that will talk to our land fragmentation challenge. Our legislative and policy interventions are as follows. We know, despite the importance of agriculture to our economy and our people, we have underperformed relatively to its potential. So we've talked about our production and productivity levels. Our value addition has been limited. Private investment because of lack of access to affordable credit, and also the challenges that we spoke about, exposure to climate, market, and macroeconomic shocks. Major policies. I'm advised that some things have changed in our next session, our next part of our presentation on legislative and policy interventions. So this might be a little different from what's on your screen, but not too different. The policy bills, acts of parliament that are currently underway. We have the Livestock Bill, which is in the National Assembly for deliberation. The Livestock Master Plan is under preparation to be finalized by June 2026. And the establishment of an animal identification and traceability system, which we are calling ANITRAC Bill. The system is developed and the draft bill is undergoing public participation as we speak. We have the Animal Health Bill that's been processed by the Attorney General. Animal Welfare and Protection Bill is being processed by the Attorney General. The Livestock Research Agenda has already been developed and it will be launched before the end of this financial year. Health Products and Technologies Bill is in the Senate for consideration. The ministry proposes exclusion of veterinary medicine from its scope of regulation. This has lumped human medicine and veterinary medicine together, which is against global best practices. We have the Food and Feed Safety Coordination Bill. It's committed to a mediation committee. Our ministry requests humbly for speedy finalization of that between the Senate and the National Assembly. Veterinary Practice and Veterinary Medicines Bill. The technical draft is ready for final legal drafting by the Attorney General. Animal Production Professionals and Technicians Bill. This has been submitted to Cabinet for consideration and approval before introduction to Parliament. Dairy Industry Bill. Honorable Senators, our dairy industry right now is being governed by a bill that is an act that is pre-independence, I think 1959. And so we've come up with a new industry-led dairy bill. Is currently being drafted, final drafting by the AG, then it will go to Cabinet and onward to Parliament. Kenya Digital Agricultural Data Policy and Bill. This is in public participation. This is what is going to digitize our agricultural sector for production, higher production and productivity, and ensure really that we embrace agri-tech. Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Services Amendment Bill. It's approved by Cabinet, waiting for introduction into Parliament. The Pest Controls Products Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2025 is in its first reading. Plant Protection Bill, again in the National Assembly, in its first reading. Seed and Plants Varieties Bill is in the final drafting for stakeholder consultation stage. The Coffee Bill is to be referred to a mediation committee between the National Assembly and the Senate. The draft Sustainable Financing and Subsidy Management Policy Framework is being processed for Cabinet approval, and the draft National Coffee Policy is also being processed for Cabinet approval. As I conclude a presentation, honorable senators, what is our call to action? what is it that we would like us to partner and work together to ensure that we can use to transform our agriculture sector. We know agriculture and food security are not optional priorities. They are foundational to national stability, and therefore for agriculture to drive inclusive growth, we call upon the Senate to, 1, ensure that devolution is fully supported with adequate resources and funds for the agricultural sector from the county governments. Out of the 10%, I think I am aware, if my memory serves me right, that only Samburu County avails 10% of its county budget to agriculture. Would like to see other counties also prioritize agriculture so that we can drive inclusive growth. Would also like support for policy and legislative reforms under development. You've seen we have over 20 or so bills that are going to be before you. Some are already before you, some are under mediation. So would like support so that we can enact those quickly. Support also the national and devolved governments to act as partners in developing the agricultural sector by introducing agriculture liaison officers at the counties, 1 per ward, in order to better coordinate agriculture interventions under the Joint Agriculture Sector Committee framework, which sits in the county, in the Council of Governors. Honorable Senators, we find there's a big gap as the counties implement agriculture and a disconnect between what we are doing for policy and research at the national level and what now translates to implementation of the same. So we are asking if we can have a liaison officer between the county government and the national government, 1 per ward. I think we've already put a budgetary request for it in our 25-26 budget, and it's something that we request the honorable senators to help us so that that intervention can ensure that we grow our sector. Support the establishment of the Kenya Agriculture Data Information Center, KADIC. This will leverage technology to increase production and productivity, thus causing a paradigm shift in the way we do agriculture. I mentioned earlier that the future of agriculture is here with us. In the past, productivity depended on land size. In the future, productivity will depend on data. Artificial intelligence will predict diseases before they spread. Drones will monitor crops and spray precisely. Digital ear tags will track livestock health in real time. Blockchain will unlock export markets through traceability. The farmer of tomorrow will not just carry a djembe, they will carry a smartphone. Agriculture is no longer traditional, it is now technological, and it is entrepreneurial. So we want to create this information center that will have a single source of truth of all agricultural data, both in crops, livestock, and also in fisheries, that will help us drive the sector forward. And that bill will be coming also to the Senate for consideration. We would like to commit the county governments to strengthen extension and advisory services. The Honorable Senator Kajwang mentioned that in his opening remarks. Extension workers really slowed down on the onset of devolution, and we would like the Senate to help us work with the county governments to ensure that we strengthen extension workers who will then advise our farmers to ensure better production and productivity. Enact legislation to guide counties on cess, particularly for inter-county transiting agricultural commodities. Honorable Senators, this has been a thorn in the flesh of our business people as they transport agricultural products from one county to another. It has increased the cost of doing business, thus increasing the cost to the consumer, because as the products move from county to county, those counties are levying cess, which counts to, of course, double or multiple taxation. And lastly, to develop a framework for government to implement a performance-based financing framework that links fiscal transfers and sector funding to measurable outcomes, service delivery standards, and productivity targets, thereby promoting efficiency, accountability, and results-driven agricultural transformation. I thank you.
Thank you, PS Mweke, for that efficiency. You took exactly 25 minutes. Before I usher in the discussant and honorable members, please take note of, maybe you could note down the questions that you'll want to field later. But when PS Mweke started, I was wondering whether agriculture had been taken back to the center, whether it was no longer county function. But you, I think at the last page of your presentation, you talked about county governments. There is so much growth and progress from the first 2 or 3 slides. I wish these senators would be able to see where the growth is coming from, which counties, because we are seeing increase in wheat production, coffee production, tea production, sugarcane production. Can the senator of West Pokot be able to tell that West Pokot is contributing 5% or 10% to that increased production? Is that data available? If it's available, we'd be very happy to share it. Some counties are stuck with poverty crops. Poverty crops. I don't know whether Senator Murango is here. Senator Murango told me that from an acre of coffee, he makes about 1.5 million. An acre of coffee. There are sugarcane farmers in the room. Senator Beatrice, from an acre of sugarcane, you'd be lucky to make 200,000. Sorry? No, I'm talking about Ndiwa. I'm talking about sugarcane in Ndiwa. No, once, you'll be lucky to make 200. In fact, if you're optimal, you'll make 300,000. Maize. Average yield per acre is how many bags? 50 or 60? Even if you take an average of 50, and a bag of maize is 3,000. So, PS, some counties are stuck with poverty crops, and some counties have crops that guarantee and generate wealth. What is the ministry doing? Because you seem to be still aligned to sessional paper number 10, that one of Tom Boyer. Some counties here are suffering. I know the chair of the Devolution committee probably has 1,000 acres back at home. And with 1,000 acres, the camels are just marauding there. If he had 1,000 acres in Kericho, he would be a billionaire. So how do we ensure we move some of our counties from this obsession with poverty crops to crops or agricultural practices that put money in the pocket? PS, you could also, and I think we'll come to plenary. I'm just framing a few questions. Senator Wakoli will also frame additional. PS, you didn't talk about AFA. AFA, we have mutilated AFA over the last 10 years. What is the ministry's strategic position? What is the policy direction? Mwai Kibaki was about convergence of agricultural authorities, but we have seen every other crop divesting from AFA. Is AFA still fit for purpose, or it's just another body for issuance of permits and trading licenses? You also didn't mention cotton. The Cotton Industry Development Bill was processed by the Senate. We are not very sure where it lies. It's not on the list of the legislation that you have there. And I think also, is there data on county food balance sheets? Does the ministry maintain that data? That county A, Kilifi County, this is a food balance sheet. This is our production, this is our utilization. We have this amount of maize being produced, this amount of sugarcane being produced. Have we gotten there? Is it also possible to get data on the number of extension workers, number of veterinary professionals per county, because all this must drill down to devolved units, county governments. And so we'd be happy to have that conversation in addition to other issues. Senator Veronica?
In other bills like the coffee bill, the agriculture bill, that's a bill we moved on Thursday, and it's going through debate, which then assures the farmers that when they engage in farming produce, then the price of their product is guaranteed by buffering the loss that they could encounter through even the 10% of what you have noted.
Thank you, Senator Veronica. I will allow Senator Wakoli, who chairs Agriculture Committee, to come and discuss the presentation. I know you had 30 minutes, but you can make it in 15 minutes, our standard contribution period. I believe the senators will be very, very grateful. And once you're done, I would like to see the mathematics of Senator Cheriot, how to make more than 300,000 per acre in sugarcane. To want evidence kwa kalatas, evidence on paper.
Ameionyesha hapa kwa Catherine.
Amekufanyia hiyo sabu?
Amefanya hiyo hesabu.
I would be very happy to share it. So, Senator Wakoli, Chair of the Agriculture Committee, please proceed as a discussant to the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Moses. I think Waziri PS, you've taken us through this presentation of yours, but there are factors, because these are senators who come from the grassroots, and the devolution is felt, it's not theoretical. As you can clearly see, members, you've not delved into the irrigation sector. The government promised to have dams, major dams, and now you're talking about Galana Gulalu. We have Turukana irrigation schemes. You have Moya irrigation schemes across the country. Kenyans will clearly want to see these dams making sense, or it's a simply academic affair. When you look at the data system and your farm inputs program, it is clearly evident that counties and you yourselves, you don't have data of farmers across the country, so that when you give inputs, you can do follow-up and ensure that the people you are giving inputs next year, they are not the same people coming back. So it must be able to improve lives and reach as many people as possible. This is equally evident in the fisheries and blue economy sector. In Mombasa, in water bodies, Naivasha, along Lake Victoria, Siaya, Homa Bay, Busia. The beach management units are there. They are not feeling the impact of government reaching out to them, and therefore the legislative relationship between national government and county government is a problem. And therefore you realize fish coming out of this country is cheaper than the fish being got from Lake Victoria in Busia County. And the farmers are asking, why should we go into the waters to suffer, and yet fish is cheaper that is being imported? So we need to see some synergy from government and county government. You know, you represent the national government, but from your budget you can clearly see you are enjoying logistical capacity that our counties don't have. I don't want to clear everything, but allow members also to contribute, and as I will be injecting point after point as we proceed. so that it is a live discussion that we are here today. So, honorable members, Mheshimiwa Moses, I'll want you to open up so that members can inject some wisdom to this discussion so that we get value for time and resources.
Thank you, Senator Wakoli, for allowing members to ride on your time. Honorable members, you are doing very well. This session should have ended by 10:30, so we have about 20 minutes or so for plenary. Where do we start from? Senator Mundigi, do we take a first round of 5? From here, Senator Mundigi, Senator Matinga, Senator Beatrice, who's the fourth one? Okay, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. We can just do the first 7 and then come back to the tea farmer from Bomet, Senator Sigei. Senator Mundigi.
Okay, thank you very much. Mimi Senator Mundigi, Embu County Vice Chairperson, Agriculture, Livestock and Blue Economy. Swali langu kwa waziri, wakati huu wa devolution, mambo ya kilimo, kahawa, manjani na sukari inaendelea vizuri na makandamia, lakini kilimo ile inaweza kusaidia mwananchi, na unaweza kuwa ukiwa na eka moja katika kaunti 47 utafanya kazi nzuri, ni kilimo ya maziwa. Kilimo ya maziwa, ukiwa na ng'ombe moja ya Grange utaweza kutoa maziwa nyingi. Shinda mkulima ako nayo ni kuwa chakula ya ng'ombe iko bei ya juu na pia ndawa iko bei ya juu. Shinda ingine, rais wa Kenya ambaye ni William Ruto alisema lita moja ya maziwa iwe not less than 50 shillings. Na saa hii tukiwa kamiti ya agriculture tumetembea kona nyingi, unakuta lita moja inatoka shilingi 35, ingine shilingi 40, na mkulima wa maziwa anateseka sana. Kwa hivyo ambayo unawakilisha waziri wa agriculture, hapo mkulima utamsaidia mna gani? Na hapo ndio Bwana Kajwang' alikuwa anaulizia kaunti 47 inaweza kubenefit na mna gani juu ya economy recovery. Hiyo ndio swali langu ikiwa mwenye mdo wa kamati ya agriculture.
Asante Senator Mundigi. I know the most prolific dairy farmer in this house is Senator Ledamo Lekina. I wish he was around to share his insights. Tulisema from Senator Mundigi we go to Senator Matinga. You can make it as brief as Mundigi.
Thank you very much, Session Chair. I want to also raise my question on the agricultural produce and specifically macadamia. I've said, Session Chair, that AFA has become the thorn in the flesh. We know that now farmers are suffering low prices because the ministry or AFA decided not to allow in-shell export. We try to protect the farmer, but at the same time make the farmer suffer more while you're protecting a few infant industries that are processing. We know they do not have the capacity to process all the produce. Does the PS don't think that it's the high time that we rebate it, we make it a sokohuru for everybody to sell his harvest where he wants and when he wants? Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Matinga. That boils down to agricultural policy. Senator Beatrice.
Okay, thank you, Chair. PS, my issue is on food and feed safety, and especially on standards. And because the ministry is the custodian of standards, PS, we have often even ended up with items that have been banned in other jurisdictions on our shelves and markets. And services. So you get veterinary livestock farmers, you end up going for services to veterinary shops, some of them which we are not even sure of their capacities. So what are you doing about these standards, and particularly on the feeds and food safety? PS.
Thank you, Senator Beatrice. Senator West Pokot. Senator Murgor.
My question is to the PS, or is it CS? agriculture. We used to have agricultural extensionists visiting farmers and also cattle keepers or livestock keepers, and that stopped, and that actually became the beginning of the end of quality production in agriculture and quality animal care and productivity. How can the ministry now reinstate that such that even rather than having a liaison officer in every ward, but to have extensionists that visit farmers to see how they are doing and to see how they can improve individual farmer and individual cattle keeper and so on for production, because that is key. Otherwise, farmers are on their own and therefore producing nothing or mega production rather than full.
Thank you, Senator Murkor. And when you think about it, it would have been important to have the Council of Governors in this room, because some of these things have been devolved to the counties, and they're the ones who should be providing answers. But since you sit at the apex, you can help us. The fourth was Senator Abbas, and then Senator Gituku.
Thank you, Chairman. Mind you, the question goes to PS. But PS, I think I want you to tell us what is going on, because as we are aware, this country, 70% is arid and semi-arid. But all along there was no proper interventions to avert, the drought. So drought has now become so cyclic, and the interventions from the research stations and all this have not been there for long. And what plan do you have? Because now that we have a drought in almost 13 counties, livestock died in a large number. What have you done to at least save those animals to die and not to die? What plan do you have for drought interventions? You said about life insurance. How effective is that life insurance? How much money was paid for farmers? And what is the cost-benefit analysis that you have done? Finally, you have, I know there's one station in Wajir, somewhere in Wajir West, that you started a field center. But I was asking myself, how will this field operate? Because these are pastoralists. People don't keep their animals in fields. How will they be able to sustain? How are you going to sustain that station? Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Abbas. And Senator Akoli, you might also pick some of the questions. You might want to respond to some of them because they're in your domain as the chair of the Agriculture Committee. We have done 5 or 4.
4.
Let's go to Lamu. People assume that there's no farming in Lamu. Senator Gituku.
Thank you.
Then I'll come to you, the future governor of Lamu.
Thank you very much, Senator. Lamu people are farmers and also fishermen. My question goes straight to the PS. First and foremost, I wanted to appreciate the effort that the government is doing to see to it that the campaign towards vaccination of livestock is well done. And in your presentation, you have told us that the government has done an effort of vaccinating more than 10 million livestock. So now my question is, there are some farmers who are not well informed in terms of vaccinating their livestock, and some of them are somehow very adamant. They don't want to vaccinate their livestock. So I wanted to know, what is the government doing to see to it that these livestock farmers are well educated so that they can undertake the process of trying to salvage their livestock through vaccination? That is one. And what the second question in the same breath is, what is the government doing to see to it that those farmers who are ready and willing to vaccinate their livestock are going to do, because there are some challenges which they are facing, and they are telling us that they want to vaccinate their livestock, but there is no vaccine. So what is the government doing in the same? Final question, I wanted to know what is the government doing in terms of trying to provide some livestock feeds to arid and semi-arid counties, now that there is a very heavy drought that is coming, and some other counties are already affected. But we are not seeing much effort being done by the government to salvage this livestock from maybe suffering. That is
thank you. Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator. Do we allow the PS to respond, or do we take all the questions? I think let's just take all the questions then. Let me see. On that end, I have Senator Commissioner Korir. Please proceed.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sessional Chair. I just want to thank the government for the efforts that they have put in place in terms of making sure that they have increased production by reducing the cost of the fertilizer. But I want to ask the PS to tell us the plans that they have in terms of zero-rating animal feeds. Thank you.
Thank you. And members, even as you fill the questions to the PS, let's remember that agriculture is devolved. It is only policy that remains at the center. And we should not encourage the PS to have the impunity of doing implementation in Nairobi. Senator Veronica, will just, now that we've agreed to take all questions, if you can make it 2 minutes. Senator Veronica.
Honorable PS, thank you for coming. I'm asking myself where the CS is. I didn't hear an apology, though I walked in late. I may be guilty of that. But I hope the CS is taking his work more seriously than he is portraying himself here in Senate. Why would he not come to this session with senators? He should adjust that attitude. That's one. Number two, the bill I have mentioned, minimum guaranteed returns. You know, this bill, the provisions of guaranteed returns were there in the repealed Agriculture Act. And we have seen a lot of efforts from government repaying debts that were owed by cooperatives into billions of shillings. So this bill is going to give a framework through which, instead of even expending billions in that fashion, we can put it within a fund, just the way we supported farmers through the government with fertilizer prices being lowered, cost of inputs being reduced. Then we can structure a fund which then buffers farmers when they engage in agriculture activity within their farms. And this bill is taking into account the food crops that have been ignored in the past. For instance, maybe maize, cassava, millet. If a farmer has produced but somehow cannot now meet the cost of the inputs, the cost of herbicides, the cost of labor, they cannot recover that amount of money, the difference that they are not able to recover. Using the resources available for agriculture, the counties can buffer that. Maybe if milk has returned 35 instead of 60, then 25 shillings can be buffered. So we are expecting support from your ministry so that we have structured a management of resources that has been spent into agriculture, and it rewards effort. It does not reward farmers who are not producing anything. It encourages farmers to produce, so it gives food security and income stability for farmers.
Thank you, Senator. Let's Senator Sigei. Then we'll all get, if we stick to 2 minutes, I think we'll all make comments.
Thank you, Session Chair. I want to first appreciate the PS for the presentation that is given us this morning. And I was with you on Monday when you were doing part of the delivery on the dairy industry. Probably the question I would want to start with is, we got 6 coolers. We were meant to get 9. When are the 3 being delivered? That was a question that came shortly after that event we had. And number 2, you have run us through legislative interventions, around 20 plus, which this Senate is definitely going to also look into and support, including the CADIC. There was a question that session chair asked about the data per county in terms of production, the balance sheet on the produce. Do we have that? And if so, it would really be great to know where are we, for instance, in the tea sector. There is a report to the enhanced production into millions of tons. Where are these areas where there has been an increase in production? That will probably be available if you have the data. But then specifically in terms of value addition aspects, I'm looking at it in the context of the infrastructure the government is trying to do in the SP markets in our places, the coolers for purposes of preserving potatoes and all that. In my county, I've got two produce, avocado and potatoes, which are greatly subject of market cartels. The packaging is something that is completely unfair to the farmer. I know at the county level, efforts have been made to legislate. I think in Nakuru County, none has been done in Bomet County to legislate on the packaging. What would we be looking at in terms of value addition? Because when we value add, I'm looking at affordable housing, doing an ASP market, which is supposed to add value to agriculture. Can we, at the policy level, segregate so that if we are doing markets for agriculture, it be done by the Ministry of Agriculture? If we are doing affordable housing, it be done by the relevant minister. I know it might be too much to ask, but can we begin to think along that line so that we segregate work? And I'll come to you and tell you, I have been given this market, it's been stalled for the last 1 year in the Ministry of Agriculture. That is part of what you are meant to deliver from your plan, from your promise, but you know, you're relying on another department in the ministry. I don't know whether at the level of the ministry we can look into that.
Thank you, Senator Sigei. Why am I getting this feeling that we are getting disappointed with county governments and asking the national government to do what county government should do? I mean, why would the national government be bringing milk coolers to a county? And yet we are giving 400 billion to county governments. So those should be some of the questions in our minds. Let me go to Senator from, yeah, I'll come back to Senator Muma. The newest senator in the House. No, the second newest.
Thank you, Session Chair. Sorry I came in late, but from the presentation, I know I can also have something for Bungoma County. I want to address the issue on theft in Bungoma County, especially in Hachonge Coffee Factory and Nakoyonjo Coffee Factory. I want to know which strategies the ministry has put in place to avert this theft that is continuous in our county. And two, there is also a lot of theft through smuggling of coffee across the porous borders, that is through Uganda. I also want it to be addressed. Then there is also poor infrastructure. There is need for the ministry to enhance the infrastructure gaps that are found in our cooperative societies. And as I finish, I also want to know what the ministry has put in place to address the climate action, because there are a lot of climatical changes and the impact on our coffee production. And finally, there's need for us to access quality coffee and enhance or boost our production. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll have a session on climate action that will come next after this, so we can go into that in details. It appears everyone wants to speak. Last week, we had a debate on what a supplementary question should be. Senator Muma, I don't know who was on the chair, but there was a debate on what is a supplementary question. It must be relevant to the subject before us. So Senator Muma, then Commissioner, and then we'll come to Senator from Lamu.
Thank you, Chair of the session, and I completely understand your dilemma on some of the questions. The first question, therefore, is, peers, how often do you have the intergovernmental sectoral meetings with the Council of Governors And how is the ministry driving the intergovernmental conversation so that you are supporting with technical, with standards, and not taking over county functions? While at it, the link between the environment, food, and human health is very, very close. We have had reports where we are told 44% of pesticides and herbicides in Kenya are banned in the European Union. I understand we still have Roundup, even in our areas where sugarcane grows, and we are aware that there is litigation on people who got cancer because of handling a Roundup in the US. What is the ministry doing? And I understand we are also using antibiotics in the chicken we are eating. So that's why our health scenarios and cancers are going up. What is the Ministry of Agriculture doing to ensure that we have the necessary standards to protect the people of Kenya from health hazards arising from wrong inputs within our farms? Secondly, what are we doing to support the small-scale farmer beyond the fertilizer? National government talks a lot about the fertilizer. One is the fertilizer, exactly the same thing for sugarcane, for beans, for maize, for anything you plant. Is fertilizer the thing? What are we doing, for instance, to encourage coffee farmers in Western Kenya to start growing this, possibly by seedling support, instead of as coffee is cut down in Kiambu? How can we beef up coffee growth in Western Kenya, which has perfect soil, the highest levels of rain because of the forest, the Kakamega forest, the good soils, enough rivers? What are we doing to trigger proper coffee growth? Thirdly, I think the KIPES program—
That is fourthly.
Let me just quickly say it. The KIPES program has failed because there is no produce to go to those industries. So what we are putting the cart before the horse. The monies we are putting in industries should be monies we might be giving for seedlings in order to put that. Has national government thought about that? Finally, on the sugar industry, why are we, the COMESA agreement that was protecting the sugar farmers in Kenya expired in December. It has not been renewed. And there is a lot of sugar being brought on the high seas. It will come to be packaged as Mumias sugar, as Sony sugar, as Nzoia sugar. Why don't we just organize a sugarcane burning day for all the farmers, particularly small-scale farmers, so that we allow those who want to import sugar to just come and import that sugar, and then the people in Western Kenya can plant something else?
Okay. We must agree that we can only take 3 more comments from Senator Mogeni. Because we mentioned cotton, Senator Siengo. Senator Gataya has just come, so he has no idea what we are discussing. Senator Mogeni, Professor Kamar. I will allow my Senator Sieko, then Majority Leader, you'll tell us the magic in sugar before we come back.
Chairman, thank you. The first question I want to write on the question that was raised by Senator Sigei. P.S. Mweke, I'm a neighbor to Senator Sigei, Bomet neighbors Nyamira. I heard you delivered 6 coolers to Bomet, and you will be 3 more. Can I know where I fit as Nyamira? We also do milk production. Can I know when we'll also receive coolers? We do milk farming, you know. We supply milk to KCC, Sotik, from Nyamira. So may I know, PS, when we are also scheduled. I would like to attend and also receive our coolers in Nyamira. Number two, when you were talking about challenges on tea, on farming generally, I did hear you mention the challenges tea farmers are facing. And I think our problems are common again with Bomet and many factories in West Kenya. Our bonus for our farmers was an average of 12 shillings. My neighbor here tells me they were getting about 57, in Nyeri, 56. So what are you doing to address this issue of low, very, very low returns on tea bonuses for our farmers? And finally, on that area, our farmers are suffering in terms of tea collection in tea buying centers. They deliver their tea like today, and the factories take up to 24 hours to collect the tea to the factories, which is a big frustration to our farmers. What policy intervention can your ministry come up with to ensure that our farmers enjoy farming? Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Shakila, if you could take a minute.
I will, Chair. Thank you very much.
Please.
Actually, my question is, Lamu, we are actually the very big producer of cotton. And the biggest challenge we are facing is the seeds and the market. Like for the last 2 years, we did supply tons of cottons and they were not paid for 2 years, but eventually they were paid recently. But that is very demoralizing. So what is the government doing to motivate those farmers in terms of supplying better seeds or in a reasonable price and looking for market for it? Otherwise, they will drop.
Thank you. And that's why the Senate processed the Cotton Industry Development Bill, which the ministry guillotined. Senator Kamar, Professor.
Thank you very much, Session Chair, and thank you for ventilating on the poverty crops, because I come from Wasingishu, where wheat and maize have become poverty crops completely, a maximum of 25 to 30,000 per acre per year. It's a disaster. P.S. Mwege, I think you are here rightfully. You are the right person to be here, actually, because you can take these questions further. You have talked about the Maputo declaration, 10%. How are you ensuring the counties are at 10%? Because you cannot report as a country that you are implementing your 10% if your counties are not implementing 10%. How can you ensure that we actually do that? You have rightfully said it's only Samburu, because Samburu just decided to go agriculture and food security. But the others, including us, from the crop production areas, we are not there, including the Discussion there. Now, we in Western Kenya and North Rift are the producers of the food of this country. We used to have this thing called GMR. Now we have a law coming in called MGR. I was a district extension coordinator in Trans Nzoia. The only incentive for production to go up, and you have said the challenges are low production and low productivity, the only incentive for production to go up was the fact that we used to do evaluation, we inspected, and we covered for losses, either out of droughts or crop failure or whatever it was. But in addition, there was something called KFA, where farmers went to look for subsidy, look for fertilizer and seed and whatever, without paying. It is like the cherry fund. What do we have for the farmers? These farmers who are dealing with poverty crops currently. Because if we don't have anything, then we are in trouble. I want you to commit yourself to take care of the MGR law now, because she just flipped the names. But in the last Senate, I asked a question about when GMR can be returned. I was told the ministry is paying attention. Thank God for Senator Veronica. The attention, I think it is you who is going to give us attention, PS. Finally, the credit that comes through AFC is also still expensive. Why are we telling somebody to produce food for the nation, and then we give them very expensive money? Why would you take money that you are going to pay 10% to do anything? You can as well fix your money at the same 10% from the same government bonds. and you'll make more money than growing food for this country. That is where our biggest problem is. So for me, the issue is policy, and I hope our discussion can now address the issue why we are at 2.5 in the counties. I think it should also tell us what our committee has done and how they have discussed with the governors. Unfortunately, the governor is not here, but we need to know why we are not moving. Why are we still at 2.5? Maputo is an old agreement, and Kenya is always praised for implementation. Nakina Guna report.
Thank you, Prof. Prof was my teacher. She's a subject matter expert, so that's why I gave her a little bit of time. Senator Miraj, dakika moja. Alafu Senator Siengo, dakika moja, because we have overshot.
Thank you, Session Chair. As the Senate Vice Chair, the Senate Standing Committee of ICT, I would like the PS to tell us what percentage of Kenyan farmers are currently using digital tools. Is there a national strategy to subsidize digital agricultural tools such as drones, smart tags, and AI diagnostics? And how will technology adoption be scaled affordably by smallholder farmers? And how will farmers' data be protected under the protection data? Thank you.
Thank you, very precise. Finally, Senator Siengo.
Thank you, Session Chair, and thank you for recognizing that I am the sponsor of the cotton bill. Thank you so much. I'm happy to have the PS Livestock here, who comes from my county, and allow me to appreciate him for good job well done at distribution of improved kienyeji chicken that targets women, youth, and people living with disability. I'm a beneficiary. Thank you, PS.
The national government is distributing chicken.
Kama mjafikiwa, muone nyuma ya tent.
Okay, go direct to the question.
Yes, let us also know where you have done it and where you intend to go to next.
Order, members. Senator Siengo.
I'm on the floor, senators. I'm on the floor.
Point of order. Order, members.
Please, I'm on the floor. Chair, protect me.
What is out of order, Senator?
Chair, you cannot improve kienyeji. Kienyeji is the ultimate. How would you improve kienyeji?
We are talking about chicken here.
They are improved.
If it's chicken, then you might be an expert. But the other kienyeji that get improved when they come to Nairobi. Senator Siengo.
There you are out of order. Thank you, Chair. Senator Muma, you better see the PS nyuma ya tent.
Senator Siengo, straight to the question.
My question, Chair, is one, on the value addition, market access and trade for livestock and livestock products. As I would like to know from the PS what he is doing on that particular strategic objective on animals from dry regions or ASO areas. Secondly and finally, Chair, it's on the promotion of tannery industry. We know hides and skins from animals that the sheikh seated next to me on my right comes from northeastern, and their animals die in numbers when there is drought. What are we doing about hides and skins for those animals before they perish because of drought? And tannery industry must be improved. Kenya can produce the best
Thank you.
Leather work.
Thank you.
Chair, in conclusion, the PS, who is my next governor, although you battle it out with Senator Wambua.
Senator Siengo,
yes,
ask the question.
Yes, Chair. I would like to know what is being done by the Department of Livestock on the promotion of dengue. Chair, people are talking of coffee, tea, sugar, those who come from those regions that grow those crops. But where I come from, we are dengue farmers. What is the ministry doing specifically to promote dengue farming?
Thank you. What about dengue? Majority Leader, you disputed my numbers on sugarcane.
Yes.
I've seen another sugarcane farmer is in the room. The Honorable TJ Kajwang is also a sugarcane farmer. By the way, is he a stranger now that he's from the other house? Is invited. Okay, Senator Cheriot.
He's a fraternal member. First, I'll come to your sugarcane business shortly, but there are just one or two things that I want to say to PS. Number one is a suggestion, PS, to you and to the AG and those in the executive. No. Before that, let me first register my disappointment with the CS, Senator Mutahi Kagwe. Please tell him the majority said on behalf of the House that we are totally disappointed with him. Ever since he was elevated to be minister, I think he's been to the House only once. And he has made it a habit to miss all our events for reasons that we don't understand. There is no favor that we're asking of him. We're just asking him to come and respond to questions. You see, look at the very difficult situation you find yourself in. Your PS for livestock, and perhaps that takes much of your attention. But here we are asking you about crops, about tea, about all these things that are part of the other state department, questions which I believe, had he found the time to be here, as expected of a diligent cabinet minister, he would have responded to them. So please register our total disappointment, and that's not how we expect colleagues to behave when they cross over to the executive. Now, my suggestion to you, PS, all those livestock bills that you listed them, it's very difficult to pass a bill in Parliament. And if you disaggregate them the way you have done, one on health, one, I don't know, on promotion of this and the other, can you ask the AG to combine all of them into one piece of legislation? And you can call it the livestock value chain bill or something, but combine them, the 4 or 5 of them, into one bill. That way we can assure you that before this House concludes its term, we will have given you a bill. Otherwise, if you break them down the way I've seen you've broken them down, you are not likely to see all of them pass as expected. So that's just a suggestion. The last thing is what Senator Kajwang was talking about. I didn't dispute your figure 200,000 Kajwang. What I disputed is your comparison of, it's like mangoes to apples comparison. Because remember, the sugarcane farmer plants, and within 14 months to 16 months, he has his yield, and will go on for the next 4 or 5 years harvesting on yearly, that 200,000 or 220, depending on what they yield. The coffee farmer has to wait for 5 years, 4 to 5 years, before they begin to get the berries. So, my friend, Moma, you know the problem. You are a Nairobi person. You are not a farmer. You don't understand these things. 5 good years before they begin to earn. And by the way, even that calculation of 1.5 is not right, because the maximum between 5 to 6,000 kilo per acre is what you can earn. At an average price of 120, it takes you to half of the 1.5 million you're talking about. So I don't think it's accurate what he's saying, that he can make 1.5 million per acre. Cumulatively in a 10-year period, you'll find that these farmers are near or almost the same. So that's what I was disputing.
Thank you. Let's bring it back to the experts. PS Mweke, many questions have been fielded. If we agree, honorable members, I know we are supposed to be proceeding for tea break. Do we agree that we proceed through the tea break so that we catch up with time? Do you want to take a break, or we just finish with this and go to the next session? Okay. PS, 10 minutes to deal with 30 minutes of questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Session Chair, for and honorable senators for those questions. We have many questions. I'll try and run through as many of them. If I'm not able to answer some of them comprehensively, I commit that our ministry will be able to put it in writing a little later. I do have some technical officers here who I might also delegate some of the questions for just very speedy responses. Senator Kajwang started off the questions asking about data on growth per county. Yes, that information is available. All the data you saw here that we announced or that we presented nationally came from the counties. So we'll be able to show in terms of tea, which counties are producing, how much they're producing, who are the high growth counties, and which are the counties that need some sort of improvements. Few senators have asked about the poverty crops. Yes, we continue to educate our farmers. Again, we have a challenge in extension services. Once we improve that, we'll be able to to help our farmers better. But we have the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization, KALRO, on their website, and this is part of e-extension. They are able to give advice on which crops should be planted in which ecological zone in Kenya, up to the ward level. So for example, if you go to a ward somewhere in Kitui called Modha in Kitui South, it will tell you this is the climate, this is the soil, and these are the recommended crops that will give you maximum productivity and maximum profit in that area. So our farmers can also be able to learn from that to increase their income from their crops. Policy direction of AFA, Director of Policy for Agriculture is here. The question was really, why are we mutilating AFA? Can you please give us a quick policy direction on the same? We've seen different crops saying they're moving away from AFA, and the question is why.
Okay, introduce yourself, name and your designation for record purposes.
Thank you, Chair. Speaker, honorable members, my name is Peter Owoko, Director of Policy, State Department for Agriculture, and currently Acting Agriculture Secretary. Chair, I have to make the following statement in as far as mutilation of AFA is concerned. Chair, you realize that most of the crops which are going out of AFA are as a result of private members' bill and not the initiative of the ministry. But we would wish to say that key crops, coffee, tea, and maybe sugarcane, which can be able to drive themselves, may be able to stand alone. The rest of the crops would just stay under AFA, and that is one of the contributing factors why, in your words, Chair, you said that we galloted the cotton bill, because cotton cannot sustain itself. So we prefer a situation where crops which have the same characteristics stay together for ease of regulation and economies of scale. Chair, thank you.
I think that's a matter that should be substantively be interrogated by the Agriculture Committee, because it might open a lot of questions. Proceed, PS.
Mr. Walker, maybe you can also pick the question on cotton legislation. Where is it? Legislation on cotton. It was not in our presentation, and the Honorable Senator thinks it's somewhere hanging.
Chair, I think cotton legislation went through all the processes and it was presented to the President for assent, and that is where it is.
No, it was brought back to Parliament outside the constitutional timelines. So the President's memorandum ideally should have been null and void, but it is what it is.
Yes, Chair. Chair of the session, I'm happy that you have said it, that because procedurally the bill went and the memorandum came after 14 days, so it should be allowed.
We'll deal with that in the Agriculture Committee. PS, proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Senator. On county food balance sheets, again, we do have a national food balance sheet under our National Strategic Food Reserve. This data also comes from the counties all the way for aggregation and compilation at the national level. So we do have county food balance sheets, and we'll be able to share that with you after this session. Data of extension workers, that is really a county function, so the governors should have all the data of their extension workers at the various counties. Moving on very quickly, Senator Wakoli, on irrigation, where are the dams? I know some of the dams are under development through the Ministry of Water and Irrigation, State Department for Irrigation, but the government's wider irrigation program of 50 mega dams and hundreds of medium and smaller dams are going to be actualized through the proposed National Infrastructure Fund. The agriculture sector is waiting very eagerly for that infrastructure to be built so that we can put a lot more land under irrigation for production of crops and animal feed. In terms of inputs to our farmers, how do we know which farmers are getting what inputs? That is part of, again, our digitalization agenda as a ministry through Kiamis, where we have registered over 7 million farmers. We know who they are, where they are, their contacts, how much land they have, and what kind of farming practices they are practicing. And we are giving inputs to these farmers, again, digitally through an e-voucher system that's transparent, that's accountable. We've done that with fertilizer. We are doing that with vaccination. We are doing that with genetics from artificial insemination. And that is our new way as government of providing inputs through an e-voucher system into the database that we have of our farmers. So that is going on. Senator from Embu on dairy. I think the Honorable Senator might have stepped out, but he was very passionate about dairy and the minimum guaranteed return. Right now, as per our dairy regulations, minimum guaranteed return for milk is 33 shillings, but we understand that this is driven by market, not really by legislation, and where the market is right now, on average, our farmers are getting 50 shillings per litre. The presidential directive that came out was not for the market, it was for new KCC, which is a wholly owned government entity, owned obviously through cooperatives, and KCC sits in the Ministry of Cooperatives and MSMEs. The president did direct that KCC buys milk at 50 shillings per farmer, and I can confirm that that is happening with the same. Again, through quality-based payment of milk, which is what we are moving to in the dairy sector, pricing will be determined by the quality of milk farmers produce. We have piloted with 2 processors right now, Biofoods and Aspedos in Kandara, and I can confirm that there are some farmers and cooperatives in this country that are getting up to 70 shillings a litre of milk because of the high quality of the milk they are producing. So that is where we are going with dairy, and we think it's quite transformation. Yes, the inputs is high for feed, that affects cost of production, and what government is doing with that is to increase the supply of animal feed. We know only 14% of our country is arable at the moment, and that we are depending on rain-fed agriculture, but that 14% primarily focuses in production of human food, leaving animal feed at a disadvantage. That's why we have a shortage, and because again of supply and demand, the price goes up, increasing the cost of production. So government has come up with a policy that was passed in cabinet called the Land Commercialization Initiative. This policy is availing large tracts of government land, idle government land, to the private sector for specific production of food and feed. In the livestock sector, we're already leasing out 15,000 acres in Bachuma, which is in Taita Taveta County, and that large-scale commercialization of animal feed will see increased supply, then reduced prices. Senator Wamatinga on macadamia, maybe we can just look at all the crops issues so that we can have our director of policy from the crop side answer. So those are Senator Wamatinga on macadamia. How are we going to ensure that farmers can sell their macadamia where they want? I know there's a ban right now on selling non-value added macadamia, and he suggests that that should be lifted. We can also take a question from
Okay, yes, breeze through them a bit faster.
Yes. So on macadamia, on the theft of coffee in Bungoma, and the governance of cooperatives in Bungoma as well. You can take that real quick. Senator Muma on the small-scale farmer. What else are we doing for them against fertilizer? You can answer that with the seedlings and all of that. And on the COMESA agreement, I know government took policy not to renew that agreement due to increased production of sugar, but maybe you can talk to that on renewal of the same. Senator Omogeni on tea bonuses, maybe you can also pick that, and slow collection of tea, that's frustrating the farmers. Senator Shakila from Lamu on cotton seeds and what we are doing for market access for cotton. I know we have also privatized some of the gineries so that we can create a market pool for the same.
On food and feed safety, on food and feed standardization, on items that have been banned, getting into our shelves.
Yes, I'll take that. Maybe you can also pick that on the pests.
Yes, increase the pests.
Yes. Also on the pest control, I know our minister had banned some products. Let's see if the honorable senator's concerns were taken care of there. Senator Siengo on promotion of Ndengu in Kitui County. I think there was also a bill that had been sponsored by a private member on the same. Maybe you can talk to that. If you can just pick those, then I'll very quickly breeze through the others.
Order members, let's not ask questions again. I think the majority leaders made it clear that if the CS was here, he would address all these questions. Now we are in this mess because the livestock guy is asking us to talk about Ndengu. So we must register that displeasure. So let's allow maybe the subject matter experts just 5 minutes, because 3 minutes, please, to deal with the other issues that are outside livestock that the PS has not addressed.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members. I'll quickly deal with some of these issues, maybe very topically. The issue of in-shell macadamia is a subject provided for in the Act. It's about promotion of agro-processing. We have an installed capacity which is underutilized in the country. So if we allow in-shell, sale of in-shell, then we are going to affect our installed capacity, the factories which have been put in place, and also the issue of quality of what is marketed. Allowing in-shell export is likely to result in export of immature, which affects our market. The issue of coffee factories is a governance issue at the factory level, which we highly require the support and cooperation of the county government, because this is now at the county level. For the small scale, other than the fertilizer, we are also supporting them in terms of access of quality seed, issues of pest and disease control, particularly the migratory pests. We are also assisting the small scale farmers in those areas. When it comes to sugar, the matters of COMESA safeguards, the COMESA safeguards could not be renewed because the timelines had expired. We had done the renewal almost 5 times, which was against the COMESA rules. So that is why it could not be renewed any further. And also because we were given time to strengthen our factories, which we have already privatized. Now we can be able to allow our sugar industry to thrive. Chair, the issue of food and feed, the matters of banned chemicals. First of all, it is not possible for you to see a chemical by the trade name being banned. What is banned is the molecules which comprise of that chemical. So you may be looking for Roundup as being banned, but you will not see it. But the chemical in it has been banned to some extent. So the list of banned chemicals are there, and ones which are banned at the global level are also banned within the country. If we check the list of banned pesticides, over 70 of them are banned in the country. So, Chair, I think the issue of tea bonuses, the low bonuses that is experienced in areas like Nyamira, the contributing factor is the quality of tea. And one of the areas which we have seen also affecting it is the way the tea is also being harvested. The tea is supposed to be harvested just a bud and a leaf. Some of them harvest up to three leaves, and this affects the quality of the tea that they are taking to the market. So those are the areas which are contributing to the low bonuses, but the tea board is addressing it through strengthening enforcement and capacity building of the farmers. The issue of cotton.
Just on a point of order, honorable members, these are very critical questions that the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture must address before the House. Could I recommend that all the questions that have been asked by members, the clerk of the Agriculture Committee captures them, and we compel the CS Agriculture and the chair of Agriculture in the Council of Governors to come before the relevant committee to discuss. Do we think that these siloed responses is doing justice to the subjects?
No.
Not.
Even the answers that are being given are not relevant.
Senator?
Yeah, I'm saying no, because even the answers that he's trying to put across is not.
So do we capture all these questions, package them, and do a letter to the CS for the CS to appear before the whole House or the relevant committee to discuss? Senator?
What the Speaker has said he will do, he will write to the Minister to appear on a Wednesday morning when the whole House is sitting to come and respond to all these issues.
Excellent.
So then that can take care of all the questions that the members have asked here. So then we allow PS, unless there's something else you want to add.
And it should be in form of a summon, because, you know, the whole day here is equivalent to 3 warnings to the Cabinet Secretary. So he should not give us an excuse, and he's not the one to choose the date. The date the Senate decides he's appearing, that is the day he should come and answer.
Thank you. PS, unless there's something you want to say in closing, but the House feels that we need to call the CS to discuss these issues. They cut across. I'll then ask the chair of the Agriculture Committee to make his closing statement to allow us to move to the next session. But PS Mweke, I think despite our anger with the CS, we thank you for coming, and you have always been a friend of the Senate. Chair Agriculture.
Thank you. One, as I register my disappointment with the Minister, the records are very clear at the Senate Agriculture Committee how many times he has come, and I believe as we go back, we will also invite him in our own way, and not only invite him, but to summon him to come and face the committee on issues that are devolved. As you've said, agriculture is devolved in the counties. You have really seen the attitude of the Council of Governors and the leadership of agriculture in the Council of Governors. My governor of Bungoma did not manage to be here, is the chair. The vice person was here yesterday in the evening. I don't know if he was behaving like Nicodemus, check on us in the evening and disappear in the morning. But it equally shows that they are not willing to do what they are supposed to do. And honorable members, you can clearly see this is the time where they are giving subsidized fertilizer and inputs. The county governments do not have data for farmers in their counties. If you ask them to account for the fertilizer and seeds today, they cannot. The other data that we got from the governor of Trans Nzoia, 98% was fake data. The name was not related to the ID number. And therefore, honorable members, we need to have an office of ethics and anti-corruption and DCI in our committees. Because such governors must be arrested. The moment they appear, they should be guests of the state. Honorable members, there is no transparency in procurement in these counties. They do direct sourcing and fixed deals, and that is why we also have pending bills, Honorable Session Chair. You also see that in spite of the prices of coffee improving, the county governments do not give attention to cooperative societies in the counties. And therefore we're having problems in the management of cooperatives, and because some of the executives have their hand in the running of the cooperatives, and therefore making the farmers to suffer. Honorable members, you're also aware, the president is looking for market for avocado and all those things in this country. Show me any governor.
Wait.
I'm finishing.
Let's
I'm
allow
finishing
Senator
because
Wakoli
agriculture is devolved, and as much as CS of agriculture will come at the Senate, I want to request members, let us deal with these governors wherever they are in our counties. Agriculture is on a deathbed. It is in ICU. And if we don't concentrate and fix this, then it's like we are letting the people down and allowing them to be at the mercies of God if He really cares about them. So, Honorable Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. And members, let us take charge of agriculture in our counties and ensure that people don't plant seedlings like what we saw the other day in some Asail County, where you can't account for the seedlings, but millions have been galloped in agriculture. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.
Thank you, Chair. Some guidance from the Speaker?
No, thank you. You just conclude your session, because I want to give guidance on the way forward for the remaining topics.
Correct. Thank you, P.S. Mweke. Thank you, the delegation from the Ministry of Agriculture. We shall proceed as members have resolved that the CS, who is a former senator, must appear before the House, because agriculture is one of the most important devolved functions. And the conversation here makes it clear that governors have not taken their role under agriculture seriously. So, Chair, you have a lot of work to do.
Mheshimiwa, in spite of you giving coolers, give semen and give quality animals to farmers, unless you want us to cool in there. Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to the end of this session on agriculture. Makofi kwa wale ambao wamezungumza. Asanteni sana. Mr. Speaker, your guidance?
Thank you, Chair. Now, honorable senators, if we proceed in the manner we are proceeding, we may leave here at 8 p.m. Now, I've just been informed that most of you would wish to leave immediately after lunch. If that is the case, then we have to see how we can manage time with the remaining topics. Now, this will be my suggestion. We straight away go to Floka and we allocate 10 minutes to the director to make his presentation. After that, we'll move to the constitutional reform, where we have Senator Wakili and Senator Veronica Maina. Each will be given 5 minutes. And then we'll move to welfare, where Honorable TJ Kajwang will be given 10 minutes, and our clerk will be given 10 minutes to present the topics. Thereafter, the Director General Parliamentary Joint Services will have 5 minutes. Professor Nyokabi of CPST will be given 5 minutes. After they're done, we'll go back to the majority leader's topic that was supposed to have been tackled yesterday. We'll give the majority leader 10 minutes. Once we are done, we'll have the closing session. That should take us slightly before 1 p.m. And then we'll break for lunch, and thereafter we'll be free.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the guidance. So we proceed without necessarily going for the tea break.
Whoever wants tea will walk out quietly and join us later. But we are not going to have a tea break.
Thank you. With those directions, I want to call to the front Mr. Peter Odengo, who is a climate finance expert representing the PS Treasury. Now, in the earlier session, the agriculture people have struggled to demonstrate what percentage of county budgets are allocated to agriculture. In the climate space, we have better clarity, because every county government has implemented a County Climate Change Act, set up a County Climate Change Fund, and I think about 2.5% of county budgets is dedicated to climate action. Peter Odengo is a national coordinator of FLOCA. Now, Peter Odengo is also the head of climate finance at the National Treasury. He is also the president of an organization called AFDAN, Africa Designated. Yes, he's a Luo man with a lot of titles. Peter is my friend, and we have worked with him in Floka. We have worked with him on climate action issues. We have worked with him at the Conference of Parties, and he has also enabled Parliament to access a little money from the Green Climate Fund, $1 million for capacity building of members of Parliament. So Peter, with the guidance from the Speaker, you have 10 minutes, starting now.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, thank you very much. Because time is not on our side, I would request that FLOCA is financing locally led climate action. It means that the lowest person speak first and then the rest speak later. In view of this, I will donate the first 5 minutes for the video of what we have done, then give a clarification for 5 minutes, then I wait for questions, if any. Over to you. Honorable members, this marks a number of days I've been with you, and as a friend of this team, volume. So as the technologies, they are maneuvering technology, Honorable Speaker, we have been working for the last 3 years, and FLOCA has been moving to respond to the issues. Yes.
Hatukuwa na maji, mali tunatoa maji 4 kilomita away. Wengi wetu tumepata miscarriage. Nilikuwa natokea muda mrefu kwenda mtoni na malizi yako muda wangu saa kufanya kazi sina. Tena nilikuwa naumia kifua, mgongo.
It has been a global debate and discussion and discourse around climate change, and it is a global concern, something that cannot be ignored. And so integrating climate considerations in planning, budgeting and expenditure for governance cannot be overemphasized.
Over the 10 years, 2020 to 2030, will require huge amounts of resources, $62 billion to do with mitigation and adaptation. Annually, that comes to $6.2 billion per year.
We have a water deficit of nearly 40,000 cubic meters per day in Makwiny. The food is scarce, a lot of it is rain-fed agriculture. Even the food they are eating is not balanced, so a lot of there's a lot of malnutrition. So FLOCA can be like a miracle because it's an all-encompassing project.
We call FLOCA to respond to the local challenges that we are seeing. It is upon that background that is called financing local led climate action, short FLOCA, meaning that whatever to be financed should come from the people themselves. The design of FLOCA is to bring in these international development partners or donors to bring in the resources. Then we have what we call a climate change fund. This fund is now where now the FLOCA program money is put into this pot. Now that money is now taken to involve citizenship counties. And these investment programs are in 4 key categories: water, climate smart agriculture, disaster risk management, then restoration of degraded environments, and then there is a 5th component of emerging issues. For example, clean renewable energies within the household.
The program in the FLOCA, for the touch and no way, I get the water to the keep your name to see me and make it quite good. I am tired of my case. I've been like that. The one, okay, here, but I like that. You know, mom, the one, or they did it. Oh, mom, the one, the one, Garama, the young, I like you. Oh, always got authority in Nalega school fees. Young lady, case or mess and then I will tell you.
This dryer was done last year around July. I remember that time the weather was very harsh. It was very cold. Rain became a challenge. It would take up to 3 weeks to dry. But with this dryer, it takes just about 4 days. With the solar dryer, we have got what we call uniform dry. The quality improved. Yeah, even in the Kenyan farmers, improved down.
The problem that has always existed in Yanga has been from floods. We decided during public participation that floods was one of the problems that we had to do away with. Being the source of one of the rivers, which is Nairobi, that gets floods and affects our people down there within the same water. We had now to decide on the annihilation of the river Nairobi. Then we gave out the request. We decided to take certain action. You find it rains, you do not need water collection. So we decided at least to have certain collection points. There are certain areas that it runs off the shore and it erodes those areas. These trees were planted and it has stopped the valley that was upcoming.
In 2023-2024, we received 162.5 million shillings as a first tranche of the Flocker investment program funds. Water was a key area. So most of the programs that were chosen by most of the communities are water-based programs. Apart from that, we have done projects on conservation.
We were connected more than 300 households, serving more than 500 people.
Kabidi tuongeze kulima wetu na idadi na shamba kutoka eka 8 tumeweza kuongeza ekari zingine 24. Tumeweza kuuza idadi ya shilingi kama shilingi 486 katika season ambayo inaweza kupita. Huu ni mpangilio mzuri ambao Floka ameweza kutusaidia, ambayo inua jamii yetu. Pia nutrition value ya mboga ambazo tunapata hapa, pia mambo na maradhi madogo ambayo inasumbua wananchi haitakuwepo tena.
Tulikuwa tuna ugumu wa kupata maji ya kunywa, lakini kwa wakati huu hiyo shida imeisha. Mradi wenyewe uko hapa sasa na umetokea maji ya kutosha na maji safi.
Technical figures to the committee, and the last one was in 2 weeks. The National Treasury is also preparing also to be with you. And because of time, definitely I would not want to go through this comprehensive PowerPoint presentation, because we will be with you, but each and every county, 47 of the counties have felt local resources. All the 45 counties, 1,350 wards have got those projects. If you have not seen your county here or your ward, please wait for the next session. We are inviting you for that. The final request also to share with you, because one of the key objectives is to share with you, the committee of the full house, how much have we given into your counties? One,
in the first county climate investment grant, we had disbursed a total of 12,611,000 equivalent. First one. The second one, which we have just disbursed, is about 7.2 billion. That is because the assembly reduced the money, which was flocker money, which was supposed to go to the local people to address those challenges which were giving people difficult answers. It was not taken, so we took less. The other thing that I would want to highlight, because flocker is a contributory scheme, up to date, the county's government have contributed approximately 8 billion to supplement into these. And as we are talking now, we are now having a third assessment for the third investment, which is going on now, and we will be able to give the results when we have a meeting with all the Senate committees, water, environment, energy, ethics, all those, because they are part of this one. And almost finally, there are three things to watch. One, the expectation is very high because it seems to be taking and responding to the locally led request, not us. Devolving power, decision and money, and where it is supposed to be. Two, it is a result-based program. You put in something small, and all counties are required to dedicate at least 1.5% of their development budget. Today, some counties have dedicated 7% of them. 7%. And that money, once it is dedicated, Honorable Speaker, it is moved to special purpose account. The special purpose account is monitored on real time. They cannot withdraw. But there are challenges of procurement, which the chairman has said. We need your support there. As of now, there are three counties which did not meet simple thing. Number one, Kiambu. Number two, Nakuru. Number three, Samburu. We have an answer, and if there is time, please, I am ready to come. We have tried all possible, because it is not right for a county not to fill a simple form, just failing to move money from CRF account to a dedicated account within 15 days. That is, I don't want to say more. So please, if you are from those three counties, we will be able to have an engagement with you, because under flocker program, should you fail to meet those minimum conditions, your money will be divided upon all other counties. The people will lose. There are two counties that we have suspended. That is Nyamira, where my great senator comes from, and also Kajiado. Under the flocker principle, we detect any intention and motive for theft or misuse, then we act immediately, and then we prevent and close the account immediately. We have closed several accounts before. We don't want to wait to go to court or any argument. And with that, Nyamira, Kajiado, previously Bomet, and previously Kakamega, and more are still coming. So because of time, I would have said more, but please.
Chair.
Let me ask on that.
Chair.
Order members, we were given very good guidelines by the Speaker that this session will take 10 minutes. Peter, this summary of county investments, can it be circulated to members?
Yes, and the report of those who have failed, the reason they have failed, I think a report will do. Then we can interrogate at the committee level.
Yes, is it possible to circulate this to members?
Yes.
Because, honorable members, if you look at this report, it goes to details on the projects that are being undertaken in your respective counties.
What?
I think once you have that, it will help you to frame questions which might not be addressed now, but we can still call Peter to appear before one of our committees. I am aware that the flocker team has been appearing before the committee on
land, natural resources, and minerals and water.
Yes,
and
the one chaired by Senator Faki.
Yes.
And I think they're going county by county. They're calling select counties to to account for the money, because this money comes as a conditional grant. We process it as a Senate. I know Senator Nyamira, in Nyamira there was a very interesting case, that it is the PS who wrote to Parliament, telling Parliament that there was abuse of World Bank and donor-funded programs. And I think it was not just Flocker, I think it included other urban resilience projects.
Honorable Chair, it is Flocker that detected and communicated the same to higher levels, and that is how they wrote to Parliament.
So, members, unless you have some questions, once you have this document, it will be extremely useful, and I'm sure it is going to trigger a lot of parliamentary questions in the coming weeks. So I was advised that we can just take 3 interventions.
Yeah, just
even though I was advised to allow those who haven't spoken to speak. So, Senator Vero,
in 1 minute only. I think now that you're discussing the question of money and accountability, have you indicated that $1.2 million are sent to Senate or Parliament? And if so, which activities do we see coming out of the $1.2 million sent to Parliament?
Okay, Peter, you can talk about the parliamentarians for climate finance and clarify.
Honorable Senator, the 1.2, it was $1 million US, which we facilitated the parliamentary committee under the Pan-African Parliament through our through the GCF readiness support. So the money was not given to Parliament, the money was given as readiness to build the capacity of the various committee and the caucus within the Pan-African Parliament. It is from the GCF, it did not come to the parliamentary account, and we are working on how to do better, to get to Parliament's a working relationship post that one.
Yes. Okay. Let's allow another member, Nyamira, since Nyamira was mentioned.
Yes, Chairman. You know, Peter, you are doing a good work. But I'm worried the way you are just telling us casually that some governors in counties can misappropriate donor money, and all we do is just close the accounts and then it's business as usual. Have you tried to approach the sectors in the justice sector, you know, like DPP, EACC, to take action? Because when you tell us that once you close the funds for a certain county, you take it to other counties, you know it's the people who are suffering. So why can't we see some heads fall?
Peter?
Honorable Senator from Nyamira, we have, in ITAC, we had already reported those because we have members of those committees. And if you look at the number of pending investigations and the ones who have been stopped and the ones who have been taken to court, like in Homa Bay, we are doing everything possible. And you know, once you report to DCI and all the legal teams, now the law takes its own course. So it becomes beyond Flocker. So that is why we are not just closing. Immediately we suspend. A number of teams are going on because it is not the local people who did the mistake. It is those individuals who are being dealt. That is why Kakamega, we lifted the ban immediately after all the verification and safeguards were restored. That is why Bomet, once the team from World Bank, from Flocker, from all the ministries went, verified, closed all the loopholes, it was opened. That is why even Nyamira now, a lot of work, the entire team is there to ensure that while the long arm of the law is working, it will be coming. The short arm of the law is working now so that the people who are affected by climate change, honorable members, is addressed. Building resilience is about now and not tomorrow. So that is why we are preventing further loss, but we are also taking action now because it is the resources that is needed to make the local poor people adapt to the impact of climate change, build their local resilience, move, get their livelihood support system. This one cannot wait for the long wheel of justice. So we are taking all-round approach, honorable members, and that is why you have also done very well. We were with you in Mombasa, We were with you in Nairobi, and I am now with you here, and we have even also decided that the capacity that we were to give to the Senate did not come directly to you. Now it has to come directly to the Senate.
Even that capacity, that's why I was asking.
Order members, let's proceed in an orderly fashion. I think the question was from Senator Nyamira, action taken on people who violate the FLOCA requirements. And I think, members, it is our responsibility as a House to call the governors and to look at the reports and for us to recommend appropriate sanctions. Senator Kamar?
Yes, I'm a member of the Pan-African Parliament. How did the money go to the Pan-African Parliament and through which arm? Because the Pan-African Parliament delegation is actually hosted by the Senate. So we lead the delegation through Senator Mongatana. We have a member in the Agriculture Committee. We have never heard of this.
Honorable, can I respond?
Okay, quickly, our 10 minutes have run out.
10 minutes.
Our 10 minutes have run out.
Honorable Speaker, should I proceed?
No, you can quickly respond, Peter.
Let me keep time. I'm a Japanese trained man, and I respect law. So I will be available here. The answers are available. I beg, Mr. Chairman, to remain here and respond, because those are supplementary questions which are directly not linked to the FLOCA program. Thank you very much.
Okay, let me address the elephant in the room. And I hear Senator Veronica and Senator Muma murmuring and whispering. They think that there's some money that came to Parliament for members of Parliament. Peter, no, let me tell you, I can hear you murmuring from where you are sitting. This is a gentleman who authorizes any access to the Green Climate Fund, GCF. Is a designated national authority. Every country that is a member of GCF is entitled to something called a readiness fund. That readiness support is a maximum of $1 million per annum. That readiness support can go to various groups. Peter has recruited the judiciary. He has recruited the designated authorities, and he has also recruited members of Parliament. Parliament did not access $1 million. When the Speaker wrote to Peter to grant a letter of no objection, the first approval was for $400,000. The $400,000 never came to Parliament. In fact, it never went to the Treasury. GCF disbursed it through their networks, UNIDO. UNIDO is the implementing agency. Peter wanted NEMA to be the implementing entity. But NEMA could not write a proposal. It is UNIDO that wrote a proposal that GCF approved. All the money, all the funding, all the operations, all the employment is being done by UNIDO through Climate Parliament. Parliament, the only thing that happens to us is that we are told there's a meeting somewhere.
Chair, that's okay.
There's a meeting somewhere, nominate somebody.
We are satisfied.
Yeah. So, no, I wanted to deal with the murmuring from the two distinguished senators.
But let me just add a rider.
Yep.
That, honorable members, Honorable Speaker,
Peter?
there is already work on progress with our team to do a proposal directly to Parliament, and it will fit better for that. Thank you very much.
Fine. Well, once it comes to Parliament, it goes to the clerk, and then now members can be able to track it. But I think the biggest takeaway is that this is 10 billion shillings
Senate.
that you need to have some oversight on.
Not Parliament, Senate.
Now, honorable senators, you can make a follow-up with the director. He's just promised he's not leaving till we are done. So if you have any further queries, I think he's available to respond to that. Now, let's move to Senator Wakili Hilary Sigay. 5 minutes allocated to you, and thereafter we'll hear from Senator Veronica Maina. Another 5 minutes. So the chair will be Senator Mogeni. 2 minutes for the chair.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm standing in on behalf of Senator Abdul Haji for this particular session, and we'll be having, this is session 5. We'll be having 2 presenters. Senator Sigei will speak on the proposed referendum bill, and I'll also ask Senator Veronica Maina to come to the front. She will be speaking on the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, number 2, Senate Bill number 16 of 2025, actualizing the 2/3 gender principle. Yeah, so Mr. Speaker, because you have given me 2 minutes, I don't want to waste a lot of time, other than to introduce my colleague, Senator Sigei, the senator of my neighboring county of Bomet. He's speaking to us at a time when we made some milestone as a Senate through the publication of our Constitutional Amendment Bill number 13 of 2025. I think we are all looking forward to question 7 on the ballot in our next elections next year, when Kenyans can also be given an opportunity to vote on our Constitutional Amendment Bill through a referendum. And Mr. Speaker, we should allay fears of Kenyans. This idea of amending the Constitution through referendum happens in many countries. Australia has had 45 referendum questions. Only 8 have passed. Only 8. But the country still continues. I think America has amended their Constitution 27 times. South Africa has done so 17 times. Uganda has done it. So we shouldn't make it look like to propose an amendment to the Constitution is war. We simply want to harmonize legislative powers of the 2 houses, enhance our input in budget-making process so that we have fairness. So I hope this bill, the referendum bill, will clarify the processes that we will go through as we push our Constitutional Amendment Bill to the referendum. So Senator Kajua, our brothers in National Assembly, there is nothing to fear about this proposed amendment bill. We require these matters to go to Kenyans, and then Kenyans can decide at the referendum. So without much ado, may I welcome Senator Sigei to make his presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Senior Counsel, Senator Kongo Mogeni. I'm sure you decided to make reference to Honorable Kajwang and not Senator Kajwang when you were allaying fears on him and the National Assembly team. You must have been referring to Honorable Kajwang. Now, Honorable Speaker and members, during the BBI moment, that was when Kenya felt like it was a constitutional moment, we felt as Kenyans generally that that would have been an opportunity for the people of Kenya to amend the 2010 Constitution. Unfortunately, you know what transpired, what happened through the entire process, including ultimately the pronouncements that came from court. And the big question from then has been, is it right that our Constitution be amended? And that is the question that we are seeking to answer in a number of the processes that we have undertaken, including now the Constitutional Amendment Bill, which is the Referendum Bill 2026, which is what I will run you through in a very brief manner. I will encourage members to still look at the content of this bill at your opportune time. It is quite important to do so because you recall towards the end of the last session, we did suspend an earlier on proposed public participation across all the counties because we felt it was not available for us as JLAC alone, but it was available for all the members of the Senate to be fully engaged and participate in the public participation process when we were seeking to push for the amendments which became very important and critical to the House and the relevance of this House from the matters that went to court, pass one to the very many legislations and the matters which were before court, including more importantly on the mandate of the Senate and also the provisions of Article 110 in terms of concurrence between the National Assembly and the Senate leadership, or the Speaker for that matter. For this purpose then today, the Referendum Bill 2026, that is Senate Bills number 3 of 2026, largely borrows what we've previously been dealing with under the Elections Act, Cap 7, in terms of the Constitution of Kenya Review Regulations, which came into force pass one to the promulgation of the Constitution of Kenya in the year 2010. Notably for purposes of this is that in 2020, 2 bills were presented in the National Assembly. That is the Referendum Bill, National Assembly Bill number 11 of 2020, that was sponsored by JLAC, as well as Referendum Bill 2020, National Assembly Bills number 11 of 2020, sponsored by the Constitutional Implementation and Oversight Committee. These 2 bills, however, were not successful. That is what led now to the BBI story leading to the matters which went to court all the way to the Supreme Court. And in the High Court, where we had the consolidated cases, this is important because it guides us on what we are supposed to do. The pronouncements that the court made were whether the amendment bill could be submitted to county assemblies and parliament for consideration, as well as be subjected to a referendum in the absence of a legal framework facilitating the same. The legal framework the court here was making reference to is a referendum law, which is now what we are seeking to enact. What the court said is that, can we go for this constitutional amendment without a law governing the process? And that question was one of the 2 pronouncements made. The second one is whether IEBC could undertake verification of signatures in support of a popular initiative without an enabling legal framework to that effect. So the 2 questions: can we subject it to public participation without a referendum law? And can IEBC subject the whole verification process of signatures without an enabling legal environment? And that is what led now to the desire to have a referendum law. Now, as DAILAC, we have this bill before us. It has been published. We are in the process of running a program on how to have it subjected to public participation, and that is why in the last session, as I had earlier on alluded, we did suspend that public participation because we felt it's important. All the members of the 47 delegations plus all the members of the Senate would be able to participate in their respective counties so that people understand beyond just the constitutional amendment, but still we have it fully taken. The summary of the bill for the benefit of this session is basically to say it sets up a framework for the conduct of referendum in Kenya, and it seeks to establish how do we initiate a referendum, how do we organize, how do we conduct, how do we deal with the challenges that would possibly arise from people going to court. Remember, we are a very litigious society. And so it seeks to, deal with the process of initiating, organizing, conducting, both at the national and the county level. It has got in part 1, that is clause 3 and 4, the preliminary matters. I will not need to get into details of that. Part 2 of the bill is dealing with pre-referendum processes, and it provides that where Parliament passes a constitutional amendment that requires a referendum, the President shall notify the Commission within 30 days, and the referendum shall be held within 90 days. That is critical because of the timelines. It guides as to when can we start, what is required of the Parliament, and ultimately how, and in terms of the timeline, the President will submit and commit before the Commission for ultimate enactment. And there are two fronts to this, which I think is important. The constitutional amendment by popular initiative, where the promoters of the amendment are required to submit a draft bill with supporting signatures, and as well as also registered voters. In this case, the signatures and the registered voters are supposed to be verified by the IEBC, that is the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. And this was the question the courts were asking when the BBI bill was before the court. The courts were asking the question, can IEBC verify these signatures without an enabling legal framework? A referendum bill, therefore, honorable members, will answer that question, because it will give a guide as to how IEBC could verify the signatures supporting the referendum, as well as the people who have signed up to support the referendum question. And the second phase of it is, once the Commission has verified sorry, excuse me, that a popular initiative meets the requirements of Article 257 of the Constitution, it shall now submit that draft bill to all the 47 county assemblies for consideration. Each county assembly will be required to approve or reject the draft bill within a period of 3 months. And that decision, whether to reject or to approve, shall be communicated to both houses of Parliament. And it is this communication that will trigger the next step. And if the communication is not made within that 3 months, it will be deemed to have been rejected by that particular county assembly. And if a majority of the county assembly approves this bill, then the bill will proceed to Parliament for the subsequent action. Now, each House of Parliament, of course, shall be required to publicize the bill. Publicizing this bill will require public participation, and that is what we are seeking to anchor in law, the process of engaging that process of public participation. And it will be required of each of the Houses of Parliament to pass or reject, or rather to approve or reject the bill within 18 months. Members, I want to encourage you to look at the bill. It's already available as JLAC. We will do a synthesized and a short version of this bill for the consumption of the members, so that when we reach out for purposes of public participation in our respective counties, members will be able to speak to it, because it will be important so that we appreciate what this referendum bill is asking about. Part 3 of the bill provides for the process of the referendum itself. I will not get into the details of it, but then the most important provision, which I think it's important for members also to know, is the notices that must be published by the Commission. The bill provides for those notices, one of which is the nature of the referendum that will be conducted, the question and options which will be availed as the referendum question, the symbols for the public to understand. You recall in the year 2005 we had the chungwa and the orange. That also will have to go out. That is provided for in law in this particular bill. The polling date and time, as well as the campaign timeline for purposes of the public to know. And this referendum date must be provided for by this bill, and in this case it should be at least within 45 days of the notice going out to the public. Now, the people or the public or groups, whether political parties who are campaigning for or against the referendum question, in this law are also provided on how they are supposed to do. Session Chair has taken the floor. I will say that the law will give us an opportunity to take a position and frame the position that we will take when we are campaigning for or against the referendum question and the referendum that is being processed. So members, as I said, I want to encourage you to look at it. We will avail for members a short version of the draft bill for you to understand. When we invite you for public participation, please get engaged so that we fully participate. Thank you, Chair. There is so much to it, but I'll stop at that point because of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we give a round of applause to our presenter, Senator Sigeri? My apologies, you now have to respect the directive of the Speaker. He gave you 5 minutes, and luckily for me, you both sit in the Speaker's panel, so you know what it means if I don't comply with the directive of the Speaker. So you can, if you have any questions, I'll seek your permission that we take the next presenter, then we can ask our questions together. So the next presenter is Senator Veronica Maina. She will speak on proposed constitutional amendment bill to actualize the 2/3 gender principle. Senator Maina.
Thank you very much, Senator Okongo Mugeni, for the opportunity. And at the very onset, let me thank the Speaker, the Clerk, and the Senate for allowing the matter of 2/3 gender principle to be mainstreamed within the program of this retreat. We have an amendment, the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Number 2 Bill 2025, which represents the latest attempt to actualize the 2/3 gender principle as envisioned in the 2010 Constitution. While Kenya has made notable strides in expanding women's participation in leadership, the country has continued to fall short of the constitutional threshold requiring that not more than 2/3 of the members of the elective public bodies shall be of the same gender. The bill therefore constitutes or seeks to provide a mechanism to ensure that Parliament finally meets this long-standing obligation. This long-standing obligation was carried out in a decision by the Supreme Court, and you all remember Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice Maraga, who declared the previous, the 12th Parliament as unconstitutional and actually recommended that it could be dissolved. To appreciate the significance, it is important to understand the historical trajectory of women's political participation in Kenya. Post-independence, women were largely absent from public leadership, with cultural norms and one-party states restricting their participation. The transition to multi-party democracy in early 1990s marked a turning point, with the women movement, including the 92 National Women's Convention, emerging to challenge systemic exclusion and advocate for greater representation. These efforts culminated in the 2010 Constitution, which introduced transformative provisions such as Article 27 on equality and Article 81B on gender representation. Despite these constitutional guarantees, women remain underrepresented in Parliament, while the introduction of elective women representative seats and nominated seats contributed to incremental gains. The overall composition of elective bodies still falls short of the constitutional standards. This persistent gap underscores the urgency of adopting a new mechanism. An increased representation of women is necessary for the following reasons: constitutional compliance. At the heart of the bill lies the imperative to uphold the Constitution, Article 81B, which is not aspirational, it is binding. Parliament has a duty to ensure that its composition reflects the constitutional requirement that not more than 2/3 of its members are of the same gender. Then we have the need to achieve the policy and governance benefits. Beyond constitutional compliance, increased representation enhances the quality of governance. Women leaders are more likely to champion policies that are addressing the needs of women, children, and marginalized groups. And gender diversity in leadership improves decision-making, fostering innovation and better governance. Women leadership styles often are characterized by collaboration, listening, and consensus building, strengthening institutional cohesion and public trust. and also women form over 50% of the population, hence the need to do inclusive governance. Then we have the economic and social impact, which is women's participation in leadership contributes to economic development, and their perspectives enrich financial decision-making and resource allocation. Therefore, women bring a value proposition to the table, and they serve as role models, inspiring younger generation. Previous attempts have failed, and I want to just indicate there was an attempt in Constitution Amendment Bill 2011 by Honorable Mutula Kilonzo to provide for post-election nomination of such members of women. That one failed. We had another one by 2014 Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill by Mwingi Central MP then, Honorable Joe Mutambo. It also failed. We had the Duale 1 bill which failed, the Duale 2 bill which failed, and I'm just summarizing. Then we had a bill by nominated Senator Judith Sijeni, which also failed. A bill by Honorable Chepkonga in 2015, which also failed. It proposed to amend Article 81B of the Constitution. Then we had Duale 2 bill in 2018, which did not see the light of day, and other bills from Senator Farhia Ali, Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., all failed. Now, this bill comes through the NADCO process. I'm just give us a few minutes, we finish. This bill now comes following the NADCO process. It's an important bill. And if you ask the late Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, he was at the forefront of promoting this bill of gender implementation principle. And of note is that in all instances where the bill on the two-third gender principle has been subjected to vote, the ayes have overwhelmingly carried the day. But when it comes to the vote, it falls short of two-thirds votes, majority of members voting for the bill. If you look at the key provisions of the current bill, which is actually proposed by the majority leader through the NADCO process, cascading all its way to the floor of the House, it proposes amendment to Articles 90, 97, 98, and 101 to operationalize the two-third gender principle. It expands Article 92 by adding two new requirements: that political party members must be democratically involved in generating party lists through a fair and competitive process, and that each party list must reflect the representation of marginalized groups identified in Article 100 to the greatest extent possible. And it introduces a new clause 4 in the Article 90, which provides that a person elected through a party list under Article 91 shall not hold office for more than 2 terms. So that if someone is nominated, we now cap it to only 2 terms. That's a fundamental closure of a nomination. And then Clause 4 proposes to amend Article 97 of the Constitution, which sets out the membership of the National Assembly. First, it removes the references to persons with disabilities from the list of special interests represented under Article 97(1)(c). It then introduces a new paragraph CA in 97(1), which provides that 5% of the total number of members elected under 97(1)(a), B, and C shall be nominated by parliamentary political parties in proportion to their representation in the National Assembly to represent persons with disabilities. So it carries along the PWD. The clause also inserts 2 provisions, Clause 1A and 1B in Article 97. Clause 1A provides that if after a general election the membership of the National Assembly does not comply with constitutional requirement that not more than 2/3 of its members shall be of the same gender, additionally, special seats shall be nominated to ensure compliance. Clause 1B states that the number of such special seats shall be determined after the declaration of the general election results. Clause 5 proposes to amend Article 98 of the Constitution, which sets out the membership of the Senate. First, it replaces the existing provision for 2 members representing persons with disability with a new requirement that 5% of the total number of members elected under Article 98(1)(a), B, and C shall be nominated by parliamentary political parties in proportion to their elected members to represent persons with disability. And the critical clause also is the clause that introduces two new provisions, 1A and 1B in Article 98. Clause 1A provides that if after general election the composition of Senate does not comply with the constitutional requirement that not more than 2/3 of its members shall be of the same gender, additional special seat members shall be nominated to ensure compliance. Clause 1B states that the number of such special seats shall be determined after the declaration of the general election results. Now I'm coming to the end. The bill provides constitutional grounded mechanism for achieving gender equity. It mirrors the successful County Assembly gender top-up model under Article 177(1)B. And as JLAC, we have come up with a schedule for extensive stakeholder engagements and public hearings in all the regions across the country to sensitize the public, obtain their views and marshal support for the bill. And I take this opportunity to request all senators to support this engagement and, more importantly, to be present and to vote in favor of the bill when it comes to the floor of the House. Let's remind ourselves that the President has supported this bill, and at the commencement of this 13th Parliament, he sent a memo to Parliament urging the Speaker and the Clerk to ensure that we find an implementation matrix, and we are grateful and know that in this Parliament we will make history by making sure that Article 27 and 81 come to life. Thank you very much.
Asante sana. A round of applause to Senator Veronica Maina. Hii pia inataka maswali. I think point made, Mr. Speaker. I think this is very direct.
You can direct only that I have a concerned session chair.
Yes.
This is Senator Beth Siengo.
Yes, I can see you, Senator.
The women broad-based president. Senator SG.
So
you forgot
before
to
you
say
before you take the floor, I want direction from Speaker. We have a presentation.
I could have finished, Chair. It was a minute. Just a
minute.
Comment. 1 minute.
Just a minute. You'll get time. I wanted some direction. We have a presentation from Senator Cheriot.
No, I thought this was a progress brief.
Yeah, yes.
But again, if there are maybe 2 interventions, then we wrap it up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker,
I'll take yours as the first intervention, and then I take another one to meet that threshold of 2 interventions. So you have the first go.
Session Chair, thank you. I only wanted to comment Senator Maina for that bill. However, express my concern that she forgot to say my first bill when I stepped in the Senate was on the same 2/3 gender that was kind of interrupted midway by the presidential memorandum. Thank you.
Okay, so let's take 2, then you will come and clarify. Any other intervention before I invite either Sigei or Veronica, Senator Veronica? Senator Sigei, on your referendum bill, did you talk about financing? Now that we'll have public participation, we'll do the financing. If we have multiple questions, do we vote on the bill as a whole, or the law will guide us to vote per question? So we can vote for question 1, yes, question 2, no, and then 3, does your bill have a sample ballot, which will show us what will go to the people in the referendum and how we vote, and whether in financing we can do it the Australia way, where you support those, you finance those who say yes and those who say no, and whether there will be an input from the people before we finally put the bill to question. Thank you, asanteni sana. So you can take
Thank you,
1 minute for Veronica and then 2 minutes for Senator Sigei.
Okay.
Allow me, first of all, to commend Senator Beth Siengo, and it is true what you have raised. And you must blame Senator Okongo Mugeni, and to a large extent the Speaker, for trying to give me less time than I should have gotten for the gender issue. I had actually listed you as one of the bills, yours as one of the bills that has been in this process, but I was trying to condense the notes. And I acknowledge you, Senator Beth Siengo, for the bill that was stood down to enable a broad-based approach towards the gender issue to come so that it gets the support from across the two political divides. So we commend you for the effort. Thank you.
Thank you. I will just take it from here. In direct answer to your question, the bill provides for setting up of a referendum question, and it doesn't, though, as it now provides for the symbols to those other than the provision that the nature of the referendum will be available, the questions and options that will be given is also provided for in the draft bill. The symbols for the answers that you will give is equally provided for. And of course the timelines. That is where the bill gives notices for purposes of the public appreciating all those provisions. 2, the campaign. The bill provides for setting up of referendum committees, form and scheme of referendum committees, both at the national and the county level. Unfortunately, you will be required to meet the cost implication of your campaign. There is no financing that the bill provides for. We do not anticipate that. But of course, the campaign financing law, which you know the status as of now, will apply to the referendum committees. But the bill clearly provides on all those questions that you asked. I think lastly, just for purposes of members also appreciating in terms of the timelines, this bill was published on 12th of February 2025. The referendum bill 2026, Senate Bills number 3, was published on 12th of February 2025. It is currently undergoing concurrence, and thereafter we will of course introduce it in the House for the first reading, and I had requested that we take time to read and understand the provisions of that bill. It's quite critical. Thank you.
So, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are done. We apologize if we took more than the allocated time, but we cede the floor back to you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you.
I think we'll hear the majority leader before we go to the welfare. So, majority leader, if you're ready. You have 10 minutes. 10? Yeah, or less.
Speaker, I will also try and be very brief. I didn't know that. In fact, I'm wondering why people are speaking so many things, and the hall is very full. Mr. Speaker, this is my presentation. It basically sums up what we have done the last session, the 4th session of the 13th Parliament. This is the 13th Parliament, which ran from 14th February 2025. We reported to work on Valentine's Day last year and concluded on the 4th of December 2025. Over this period, there's a lot that we're able to do, which I'll just give a very brief highlight of. Of course, worth of note is that we had a difficult beginning to the year with the unfortunate demise of our colleague, the late Senator William Cheptumo. May his soul continue to rest in eternal peace. But by the same stroke of breath, we got the addition of Senator Chemite, who I don't recall seeing in this conference. Maybe Jeremiah has sent him somewhere else. I haven't seen him here. We also did welcome last year the senator who doesn't love stairs from Senator Wakoli. I don't know what it is, from the Bungoma corner. So, Mr. Speaker, the key highlights, first is on the issue of attendance and sittings that we've had. In total, during that entire 4th session, we had 112 sittings. 14 of them were special sittings though, and 1 joint sitting as usual per year, which is during the State of the Nation address, bringing it to a total of 127. In those 127 sittings, Mr. Speaker, the only times that you're able to achieve quorum, by achieving quorum means it's 2:30 and people are seated at the exact time which the House needs to begin. We're only able to achieve it 5% of the times. Only 5%, which is 6 sessions out of 127. 94.5% of those sessions, we had to ring the quorum bell, sometimes 10, 15, 20 minutes, depending. And during those times, there were also sessions where absolutely no quorum was obtained, meaning that we had to suspend sittings. And it was a sad event, given that we had a cabinet secretary in the House, the CS for Education, if you recall that particular morning. So it's just to urge colleagues that keep time, mark the timetable. There are a number of bills that were able to proceed on to assent outside the statutory bills, the county government, additional allocation, division of revenue. Those are normal, ordinary legislations, which will definitely be signed because of the nature of the interest and the work that we do. But we had extraordinary bills from colleagues, like Persons with Disabilities Bill, which has gone on to be signed and is now law in the Republic. Out of the 29 bills over and above the usual annual finance bills that we signed, that we passed, Mr. Speaker, 17 were referred to the Senate by the National Assembly, were referred back, 12 are still at the National Assembly in various stages. It's unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, and we must note with great concern that some were rejected at the second reading phase, which is it's not a good thing. It's not a good sign, Mr. Speaker, and it's something that perhaps during mediation we'll want to hear what was it that was so terribly flawed about these bills that our colleagues from the Assembly felt that they should never consider them at all, Mr. Speaker. Then I'll skip the papers laid because you're aware. Many of the things that are listed here in this report are things that I report every other Thursday during the statement time by the leader of majority, including the petitions. I'll skip those ones because I gave an update actually last week on Thursday during the same time for statement by under 57-1. There is just a challenge that I'd wish that we address, Mr. Speaker, which is the increasing number of statements. And I have said this to Jeremiah and the team at Secretariat, that we can do better than what you are doing. Our standing orders, the exact lifting of the wording, is that matters that are of nationwide, county and nationwide interest. You many times, Mr. Speaker, have to suffer the agony of sitting through 4 or 5 statements from members raising about a road that has delayed in a county. What the hell does the Senate of the Republic have to do with such matters? Yet, despite the pressure, I understand the power imbalance that exists between maybe a staffer having to tell a senator that this statement doesn't meet the threshold. Maybe we may want to devise a better way of approving those statements so that the battle is not on you. In fact, many colleagues, sometimes unfortunately you hear them, including colleagues in the SPC, raise concerns even when you're in Senate Business Committee, oh, my statement has delayed this or the other. It's not a very pleasant conversation between a staffer and a member of the House. So, Speaker, you may want to clean up that particular space because, to be honest, the truth of the matter is that we are now quickly venturing into the space of county assemblies, asking questions that ordinarily should be questions that the county assemblies for them to be addressed. And it's something which I want to challenge, that maybe we need to review and think about how to best handle those particular issues. I'll skip all this on the petitions that are due because I equally gave a report on the same. We had very serious activities on interparliamentary diplomacy, which includes our colleagues who serve in the Forum for Member States in ICGLR. We have members who are in CPA, Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, East African Legislative Assembly, and IPU, whose reports actually they favor us with as a House, and many times, sometimes we debate them, though I haven't seen many. There are caucuses also that have come up. Senator Veronica and Muma had serious questions on FLOCA, which I want to ask Senator Kajwang to invite them to be front seat members so that I'm just coaching you on noise management, how to run the House, so that when you're presenting, you don't get the kind of heckling that you suffer. We have also another energy and climate caucus that's picking up well, the Green Zones Africa Climate Summit. There is this one that we launched in 2024. Unfortunately, I can't recall the 7 senators that we sent to that committee, yet it was a very important one on the caucus on World Bank and IMF. I don't know who was a member of that committee. You have never favored us with any report or any presentation. At least Senator Kajwang, for all the mic of eating, quote unquote, at least he brings reports to the House. You guys complain, there is no report that I have seen on this particular session, yet it's a very important committee which Catherine Moma and your team, please, we need a good update as a House, especially given that the Senate doesn't participate effectively on finance laws and the rest. We just need to know where do we stand as a country and all these things in that particular space. I liked the speeches that you people gave during the launch of that caucus in 2024. And it's a joint session. I'll skip on the impeachments, nothing really to answer. The challenges, some of the key achievements. No session of parliament is the same. Each suffers its own ups and downs. If you tell the members of the 12th Senate that we passed the 4th basis of revenue sharing in a record 1 week without much drama and all the things that accompanied the previous session, they'll think we are a very boring lot of senators. But congratulations to the present Senate. I believe it's a better formula than what we had in the 3rd generation, yet passed with very little fuss about it. For the oversight situation and the works that you do. Sorry? Kewosa. I'm not sure it's a all-member caucus. It's a caucus for a certain section. The fact that you... Okay. It's an association, not a caucus. Okay, I'll include it in my report next time. Challenges, of course, that you're facing. Quorum, especially in committees, a big challenge. We need to find ways of responding to that. Frequent members in the plenary leading to adjournments, especially when we are able to conclude. I have said many times, angrily so, that this is the first time, like I have noted, each House of Parliament is different. This is the first time I'm seeing members just decide to abuse, not abuse, okay, use it, but wrongly. The standing order on calling for quorum. Somebody idles, takes tea and mandazi. When they are full, they come and request for quorum in the House. Very wrong, but that's what we have. Procedural shortcomings in impeachments. For some reason, we have refused to pass the law on impeachment procedure. It's hurting us. The people who need to be at the forefront are you guys that want to go and be governors. Those of us that are in the Senate would be happy for the situation to persist as it is. But you that want to be governors, I sympathize with you. You better lobby and pass that bill. And all this, as well as motions and many other things. Honorable Senators, the 4th session was productive and instructive, very challenging at times, but nonetheless, we observe our duty as expected of us by the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, before we conclude on this session, perhaps you may want to guide us as a House, particularly on this thorny issue that we have between us and the Council of Governors. And I appreciate and stand by the decision that you made, that until such a time that they honor summons before our committees, all of them, they have no, they don't deserve our attention. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I submit. Because this was an update, I don't think there's need for questions, unless I'm...
Thank you, Majority Leader. I don't think there are any questions. Yes, Senator Beatrice. Senator Beatrice, and then Senator... Oh, Senator Sami.
Thank you, Emel, for that brief. It was a good one. But then my issue is just the bills that have gone to National Assembly. We are not getting any feedback. Like I have a bill that has been there for one and a half year. And then I realized it has come from National Assembly. It has been copy-pasted again, my PFM bill, from my bill. But then my bill went before. So I don't know what happens to that, Emel, and it's really frustrating after working so hard. That's 1.5 years ago. The bill went there, but then the National Assembly, you can see almost similar bill, but then of course with a different version, but then copy-pasted. What do you do about it?
On that one, I believe the Speaker, because inter-house issues on bills is a speaker-to-speaker discussion, which maybe you may want to urge the Speaker to take it up with the counterpart from the Assembly.
No, I think the matter was discussed at the SBC, and it was agreed that I engaged my counterpart in the National Assembly. So once I've done that, I'll be able to report back to SBC and to the larger membership of the Senate. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. We go to welfare. Do we have Senator Lelegwe here? Dr. Senator Lelegwe? Okay, Prof. But Prof, don't... Professor, manage the time, please. Manage the time. So, Prof, we'll call all these panelists, Honorable TJ, yes, Nyandiere, and Prof. Nyokabi, and the clerk. Each 5 minutes, strictly 5 minutes, each.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well guided.
Morning, welcome. Members, before us is a nominee for the chair of the Public Service Commission, and we have already taken our prayer, so we will go straight to the business that is before us. Now, before we administer the oath for the nominee, karibu sana, nataka